Peace, everybody. We're back again. Welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB, and I'm your host. This is episode 16. Our very special guest today is hip hop royalty. You know what I mean? When we talk about hip hop, when we talk about MCing, we gotta count on this brother. He dropped his debut album in 2001 with Brick Records. It was entitled Along Came the Chosen. He's from Lawrence, Massachusetts. He has since then dropped 14 albums, 11 singles, and one compilation. His latest album is entitled Things. Things is an acronym for The Hunger Inside Never Gets Satisfied. This brother has collaborated with many of the greatest, you know what I mean, from DJ Premier, Static Selector, Hype Tech, Styles P, Sean Price, Master Ace, and that's just to name a few. He's also a small business owner with Universal Lotus and Wins Local, but we're gonna get into all that a little later. I linked up with this brother, of course, through, you know, the hip hop culture, but also the plant-based lifestyle, the meditation, the yoga, everything that embodies what our culture is about. You know what I mean? He's also a lover of the game of basketball and a big Boston Celtics fan. It's truly an honor to have him on the show. Corey Christie, aka REKS. Peace, my brother. Welcome to the VITAL HOOPS Podcast. Man, it's an honor to have you, man. How you doing?
Peace, King. Thanks for having me. I appreciate being included.
And no doubt, man. It's an honor, man. This is what, you know, when I started this podcast, you know, I thought of, you know, brothers and sisters like yourself, man, you know what I mean, who are, you know, about the culture, you know, about the people, and who want to build something positive, you know, for ourselves and for our seeds, you know. So so it's dope to have you, for real.
I'm thankful, and it's incredible that you have a platform like this, so much needed. It brings life and energy to, you know, the environments that we find ourselves in. You know, sometimes our voices are a bit silenced a bit. So
that's right, man. I appreciate you, man. So listen, let's get to it, man. You from Lawrence, Massachusetts, man. Tell me a little bit about, you know, we're gonna get into hip hop in a minute, obviously, but tell me a little bit about, you know, how was it like, a little bit about, you know, how was it like growing up over there, and when was your first encounter with basketball, man, the game of basketball?
So Lawrence, Massachusetts is used to be a super small community, but it's always been kind of on the major scale, even at being a small community globally, because it has its origins in like the textile mills and the Industrial Revolution in the United States. So small cities and towns like Lawrence, Lowell, and the surrounding communities were vital to like that period from the late 1800s going into the early 1900s. As far as building industry in the United States. And so I say that because obviously, I'm into knowing about environments all over, but I say that to intro how my family kind of ended up in Lawrence, coming from you know, well, thousands of years ago, where we all come from, but like, you know, my family being part of the diaspora and ending up in South Carolina and Georgia, Virginia area in the South. A lot of Black families migrated north, and my grandparents decided to come up to this small community to start a family. And you know, my mom for the most part grew up in Lawrence as well. She got to Lawrence in about 8th grade, and then I ended up being born. She was 16 when she had me, and my father wasn't around so much. So that's kind of like the bedrock of like my childhood coming up. A 16-year-old mother, a father who was like pretty much absent, and you know, so it's very similar to a lot of cats coming up in the community I came up in.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Lawrence, yeah, Lawrence is a lot of that, and a lot, not only individuals coming from the South, like Virginia, South Carolina, uh, mostly Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia is where people would come up and end up in these areas if it was Black families. Then we had a lot of individuals coming from the Caribbean, mostly Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, who ended up in Lawrence as well. So Lawrence is a predominantly, Puerto Rican Dominican community,
Okay.
and then you have an influx of a lot of Lebanese and different individuals like that. So I grew up in this kind of environment
Mm-hmm.
around individuals who came up hard, and so like a lot of my music. I usually get to the conversation of music later, so I'm glad that you said it that way.
Mm.
The music didn't really have the ability to take any road but the road of, like, the struggle and social commentary
Right.
and economics and politics, because that's what we was living with, you know.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's interesting, man. It's interesting you say that. Talk to me a little bit about, I know you're a Boston Celtics fan.
Yeah.
I know y'all are real close to Boston, right? So how did you start? Did you play ball as a youth, and how'd you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Talk
yeah.
to me a little bit
So
about that.
I missed that part. So
You
like
good?
for the basketball came into my life. In the schoolyards we played ball a lot. I did come up playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I played ball. I played ball and I ran track. But
Okay.
ball's been a part of my life from very young. It was always in my household. But when we were young, I wasn't even a Boston Celtics fan when I started off. I was a Detroit Pistons fan.
Okay.
And this was because when I started liking basketball, I still remember it. It was Isiah Thomas
Oh, the
against
bad boys.
Magic Johnson. Isiah Thomas against Magic Johnson years. Like uh, the twisted ankle like kind of game. Like that was the whole vibration of like my start. My family, they really forbid like us loving the Celtics in the
Oh yeah.
household because Boston has this history of racism
Yeah.
and hatred toward people like us, and so there was no love lost or any kind of feeling like
Mm,
in our home like for the Celtics.
right.
My aunties and uncles would be in the house, and they were all rooting for Magic Johnson and the Lakers. They
Yeah.
loved the Lakers. And so for me, I would watch these games and I would see this little dude like just demolishing people.
No doubt.
Isiah Thomas, and I was like, he was the definition of like hard working, coming from the same kind of communities as us.
Yeah.
Not to say anything about anybody else, but like Isiah Thomas just fit this kind of prototype of what I saw in an individual who,
Or
against all odds, kind of like got to the victories. So
yeah, dude with heart. Yeah, dude with heart.
yeah, yeah, like no matter what, he kind of he was a leader and he took charge, and so like
For
um,
sure.
he was the mainstay for me, and it
Mm,
wasn't until you know moving to Boston and really getting engulfed in the community and getting to meet a lot of positive people from all kind of walks of life, and
yeah.
started to be embedded in the fabric and the culture of the city,
Yeah.
where I could start to like be a true fan
Yeah.
of the Celtics and the community.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? What you said earlier? Because still to this day, like a lot of players still speak about how, the racism that, that they live in, like in Boston or through the Celtics. But at the same time, I know a lot of people, a lot of basketball fans who don't like the Celtics for that reason. But at the same time, I know also, there's Bill Russell, rising power, and everything that he stands for with that franchise. And I know also a lot of brothers who do, like yourself, conscious brothers who do support that franchise or that team. So do you feel like your parents had a point, or like your people had a point as a youth to not rock with the Celtics? Or do you feel like at the end of the day you ended up being a Celtics fan? So how do you feel about that?
That's a very good question, and the reality of it is like this. It's like I don't put myself in this box where it's simply like the the Celtics fit into this mode of this systemized situation where racism exists. This racism exists throughout the NBA. Racism exists throughout sports. Racism exists throughout our global environment.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
the situation is not the situation of, especially me being in the South now,
Yeah,
and being around individuals who are outwardly representing how they feel about you.
yeah.
In Massachusetts, there's a lot of hidden textures of that, like where individuals don't look to, really embrace how they feel. If they feel hatred toward individuals, they mask it in
Mm. Yeah.
liberalism and certain in
Word.
democracy and certain beliefs that they quote unquote think are positive.
Mm.
So being in Massachusetts, like I'm engulfed in uh like right before your face, like individuals who are like this, and being in Georgia, in front of individuals who are more outwardly expressive.
Word.
So I don't think the whole Boston Celtics thing is like, uh important to be so caught up in,
I feel you.
like the way my elders were and the individuals that came before them were either, because I deal with it on a reality basis in my
Mm-hmm.
day to day on a regular basis. And when like I get away to go mess with the sports and everything like that, none of that truly like takes a precedent. Um, I don't put that on I don't put that onus on Jason Tatum, Sam Hauser, or um, or Bill Russell or Tommy Heinsohn. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I put that onus on really like the culture and fabric of what we've like established in the, in the environment we live in, like
True.
real time.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
being where you are right now and where you come from,
Mm.
and me being where I am and where I come from, all this is contingent on like,
Word.
factors from an embedded racist system for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I hear that, man. I hear that. Talk to me a little bit about hip hop, man. I'd like to know when what do you get into first? Do you first start, rhyming, or do you first know about, the culture and everything, and then you get into the element of MCing? How did it happen for you?
Well, I was a b-boy first.
Okay.
I was a break dancer, like cardboard out, breaking the cardboard out in
Nice.
the yard, and like, you know, us just, going around the city competing and just like, really be a focus there. And I've always been a dancer. Um, in that regard. But the mic and the voice, a lot of that came from. Um, it started like, like to say when it first happened was me watching Beat Street and seeing Kumo D and the Christmas rap, and that's kind of the situation. But like as I get older, I start to see and realize why it truly happened. There were a lot of things in my life traumatically that happened,
Mm.
like bullying from older cousins and stuff like that, but just things that we just go through
Yeah.
naturally in the course of life, but don't make them acceptable. But my way of dealing with bullying or any individual who was attacking my person was to utilize my voice, have a very powerful approach with my voice, and I started to realize that very early on that my voice was capable of carrying itself and having weight and controlling kind of a room.
Yeah.
So I utilized that
Mm.
as my way of expressing, hurt, anger, whatever emotion I was going through. I found the ability to utilize my voice to convey and capture the moment.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
it was those instances coupled with Beat Street.
Yeah. No doubt, man. And now that you mentioned that, I can hear that, man. When you listen, when someone listens to your music, man, I'm sure, at least I can definitely feel that, man. In your lyrics, like that's why, I feel like you're such a great MC, man. Is because there's an embodiment of, you know, I could feel your pain. I could tell that, you know, there's things that you live, that you go through, things that you love, you know, and it comes out with passion and with technique. So that's how I feel like, you know, that's what makes you such a great MC, man. But, you know, no doubt. But, you know, personally, I listened to the first album I heard of you, man, was Straight No Chaser. Straight No Chaser was the first time I heard, you know, some of your work. And then I went back afterwards. I went back also and I checked out some of your earlier stuff. But it was my DJ, man, in Cuba. My DJ, shout out to him, DJ Ale. DJ Ale representer. He always, you know, he always blows people's heads off in Cuba, man, because he has some of the dopest shit that people don't even know about.
The hidden gems.
Yeah, so he put me on the U, man, a few years back. That was a long time ago. He put me on the U, and yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you, man, and obviously, you know, for those of you who don't know, make sure you check out the brother REKS over here. But like I said, like to me, you're I can't think of, like, when I think of the great MCs, you know, I can't think of anybody that you couldn't, you know, rock with and it be, you know, natural, you know. And I wanted to ask you, you know, this is for the MCs. What do you do to prepare? Like any techniques you have, or like me, like for example, me as an MC, there's a couple things I like to do. You know, for example, I like to, you know, recite my lyrics while I'm exercising sometimes. You know, that helps me prepare, things like that. You know, I do things like rhyme with a pencil in my mouth and things like that in order to articulate. You know, but I'm not much of a fast rhymer anyway. So, but you, what type of, you know, little techniques and things that you like to do in order to work on your craft that you'd like to share, man?
Those are gems right there. I never heard the pencil in the mouth
Yeah.
technique. That's fire, man. That's
That's
real
pretty
dope.
dope. Mm.
I don't really I can't say that I have any like specific techniques that I utilize that are kind of like outside of your normal tried and true methods. You know, I just like repetition in terms of like, you know, reciting like a lot of my bars has helped me to, like you say, articulate and focus on, you know, the way I you know, pronounce. And the biggest tool I have is my reading. You know,
Mm.
getting to the books and we can't be reciters. I want individuals to know that, like, you know, when I say I don't read from, you know, countless books and then just recite information. You know, I'm not a memorizer. I'm not a like individual who, you know, just uh, uh, intakes a bunch of information and just blurts it out.
Mm.
What I do is I take out, you know, vegan plant-based eaters, of course, but
No.
like my mom's always said, like, you know, take the meat, like the fleshy part, and you know, discard the bone. Nowadays we know that you don't discard any part, but you know, my mom's. I said this because, like, you know, you get to the food basically. You get to the food
Yeah. I
part,
feel you, man.
and then you discard the part that's like not as important, and that's what I did with these books. And these books are probably my greatest tool. And you know, I think that's where people are missing a lot. Like, you know, you can dive into a book and you can get lost into new worlds and activate the mind, body, and soul in ways that
Mm.
only meditation and yoga are gonna get you.
Word, man. No doubt. We're gonna get into that, man. I was gonna ask you a little bit about, but you kind of answered it. I was gonna ask you about if you know, if any other artistic elements of the culture that you were a part of. But like you said, you were a B-boy.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So
And I produce a bit.
okay.
I just haven't put much out. Like, you know, my son is on his second album. My son is bodying me. But
Wow.
yeah, he just released a tape yesterday.
That's dope.
Eyesight.
Oh yeah,
Eyesight.
I think I saw something that
Yeah.
you put on IG.
All
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Beats Volume 1. He just released. So go check
Okay.
him out.
No,
Eyesight vid.
yeah, no doubt, man. Make sure you check that out. We could put all that down in the description after so people can check it out, man. No doubt. Yeah, so listen, there's this one thing, man, that I usually, you know, I say that, you know, to me, I feel like basketball is a part of hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? Or I feel like, hip hop, I like to say that hip hop is the culture of basketball.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So like when people talk about, basketball, the whole thing around everything around basketball, I feel like most of it has become, things that have, that are hip hop. So for example, like we know that, street ball, when hip hop started in the parks, street ball was around, you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? Most of those parks, people were hooping and everything. So that, it became part of the culture. And then the way the game of basketball has grown over the years and it's become the second most popular sport in the world, I feel like if it wasn't for hip hop, I don't know if basketball would be this big globally. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it really is a part of the culture.
I think I could agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what do you think about that, man?
Absolutely agree. I mean, I couldn't say it better. I feel they go hand in hand.
Mm.
Coming up, it was always universally like accepted that like these kind of like parallel lines were like being paved
Yeah.
with hip hop and basketball. We're gonna align, but like it's again about no matter where we're coming from,
Mm.
these communities that we're in, it's so easy for us to gravitate towards these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're attempting to get away from the streets
Mm.
and you want to avoid any of the negative aspects of like slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot, like
Absolutely.
that mind frame comes from what we are so pigeonholed to believe are our only options.
Mm.
The block, or the court, or the booth.
Mm.
And so a
No
lot
doubt.
of that is kind of interwoven into this
For sure.
tapestry that we paint for ourselves. But like a lot, I love that we're in a paradigm shift moment where we're breaking out of it.
Mm.
And hip hop and basketball can only expand as we expand into other mediums as well.
No doubt. No doubt. I
Yeah.
agree. For sure, man. Talk to me a little bit about your spiritual, man, your spiritual life, how you got into your spiritual life, health and wellness, the plant-based lifestyle, all of that, man. Please. Because your story is interesting, man. And when we connected, we spoke a little bit, but please, I'd love for you to expand a little bit on that, man.
So I've been on this powerful journey personally, like where I'm attempting to, scale back all that I was limited by, and I was limited by my ego and everything that I was attempting to, you know, use as validation in the world. And
Mm.
so I'm so happy that like I'm so limited in my technological savvy, right? That like social media and all these things of that nature don't um don't have the capability of uh, I don't have the capabilities to orchestrate the mediums the way other individuals do, or to utilize them for what other individuals want to utilize them for.
Okay.
And so, my tendency is to revert back to the self. Like I cut off all of that metote, the like the Toltec wisdom, the metote, the cloud in the mind, and all that other stuff. And I really wanted to get away from all of this need for validation. That's why I talk about social media. It's
Yeah.
really it's
Yeah.
really about the validation.
No doubt.
And
Yeah.
I had to really recognize that like I was outwardly seeking validation. And this comes from traumatic youth. Again, going back to me utilizing my voice as a way of expressing how I'm feeling, hurt or anger or love or passion for anything. Right.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I reverted to the microphone. But
Yeah.
now I recognize that I can utilize that platform, but at the same time, to heal myself, to become better and recognize who I am personally, I needed to go back home. I had to remember who I am. So like
Look,
I
look, look
lost,
within. Yeah. You had to look
yeah,
within.
I
Yeah.
lost all that because I was looking for understanding when it was overstanding and understanding that was missing.
No doubt.
So, like exactly like you said, looking within. So it's not really. I do have a preference or in choice of of what I study most, and it's Shitate and Kemetic spirituality. But I read from a plethora of books. I've been online, now, reading to the people and using my voice as my voice and my platform to speak to people about the importance of reading and getting into connecting with self. And if the Bible works for you, cool. If the Quran works for you, the Torah, if these books work for you, fine. These are not my preferred methods, but I will absolutely indulge individuals in the space where they're at, so we can have a conscious dialogue that doesn't come from warring about belief systems, which is not very important. The war is within, like you said, the inner. So that's where I am with it, beloved, and I'm just constantly being a student and learning. Absolutely. Just real quickly, the Queen and I, when we're done, we're about to travel to Tennessee. We're actually meeting with Sadhguru.
Okay.
We're doing Sadhguru is one of the premier spokesmen for the people, a guru out of India who is on this Save the Soil campaign. Going around the world. He drove his motorcycle from I believe I don't know how the connection works, but England to India.
Okay.
And he traveled communicating with all kind of people. He just did an interview with Mike Tyson and all these other individuals that are all different walks of life. They had him on Hot 97. He's one of the beacons of light in the spiritual realm that we have existing. One of our elders, not in spirit, who's here vibrant right now with us physically. And we're going to have the opportunity to have dinner with him and listen and learn from him. And all this is a blessing based upon where the path is taking us.
No doubt, so man. I hear
it's powerful.
I hear that, man. Do you know Muji, man? You ever heard of Muji?
I've heard of Muji. I don't know Muji. Yeah.
Man, my older brother, man, rising power, man. Unfortunately, I lost him not too long ago, man. He used to listen to Muji a lot. He's the one that put me on, and then right before he passed away, man, it's crazy. He met Muji, man. He didn't mean to meet him though. They just kind of met each other at a beach somewhere in Portugal, man. It was crazy. Wow. A really dope story. It was meant to be, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my brother passed away, and then when he passed away, his wife reached out to Muji, man, and Muji did a whole little speech about my brother and everything, and how he felt like they were connected and all that. It was really dope, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
It was really dope, man. So, but anyway, man, to get back to what you were saying a little bit, man, the reading part of it, man, is interesting because part of what we do here at Vital Hoops is also that, man. I feel like this also connects to what you were saying before. Social media and all that. I feel like a lot of people, unfortunately, today are misinformed. There's all this information coming at us. You know what I'm saying? There's an overload of information, and people are usually getting their knowledge from short clips on Instagram or something like that, and that's where they're getting the knowledge from. And I feel like it's so important for us to get back to reading books. You know what I mean? And getting and doing the knowledge, like we say. You know what I mean? And get into something deeper. And same thing with meditation and looking within, because sometimes our answers, a lot of the times, are within us. You know what I'm saying? In connection with our ancestors and all of that, man. But on my latest podcast, I meant to show you, man, on my latest podcast, because we do book recommendations here, man. So
sure.
On my latest one, it was featuring Damian McSwine. I don't know if you heard of him. Wellness Mogul. He goes by Wellness Mogul on IG. This brother's like a wellness, he's like a wellness expert, man. He's really dope. He's always got, speaks on, everything wellness. And so I had this book over here, man. I'm sure you
of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man. So that's the one I recommended on the latest episode, man. So for those of you who haven't checked it out,
You just made me very happy, beloved. Like a lot of people ain't on to
Oh
beloved
man,
Dr. Muata Ashby.
no doubt,
And,
man.
and yeah, that's the school. That's the school I'm in
Yeah, I know,
consistently
man.
and
That's
regularly.
why I meant to tell you, yo. So this
Yeah.
comedic diet, man. When I got this book, man, I got into it, and it's a really good one. So for those of you, check out comedic diet, and definitely check out episode 15 of the Vital Hoops podcast.
Or check out Dr. Muata Ashby African Origins. Check out the Pert Heru, like obviously
Yes,
the Comedic Diet. Yeah, so many the Glorious Light Meditation. He has a plethora of them.
yeah,
And I would say you ask me for recommendations. I say authors like Sheikh Ata Diop
for
and
sure.
so many others. Yeah.
All right, man. So we almost we almost winding down. I
Okay,
want
word.
I wanted to ask you, man. I wanted to ask you about, generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to ask you about that because, I feel like it's a topic that, that's kind of relevant these days, that a lot of people are kind of uh talking about. But I feel like, it's interesting, and like, there's a lot of generational wealth, that has been created through oppression. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it that has been created through
Absolutely.
oppression, through all that our people have gone through. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, well, I want to hear what you have to say about it, and then I'll we can wrap a little bit before we end it with a couple last topics, man. But yeah, please, man,
Absolutely.
please.
So my view is this: first and foremost, we're all pretty aware, or we in passing, or we're aware in being victims of individuals who have exploited black and brown folk for land and opportunity, and just through colonialism and
Mm-hmm.
annexing lands and uh, taking over whole environments and minerals
Yeah,
for the betterment of their progeny, their legacy.
no doubt.
For a long period in time, I was so caught up in the concept of what they're doing on the outskirts of what I'm doing myself.
Mm.
And I am absolutely always, visors always open and aware of what's going on in my environment, the movements that are shaking the world as we speak, what England's up to, what Switzerland's up to, what the United States is up to, what France is up to, right?
Yeah, we gotta be.
um, I'm always aware. But the part that I wasn't taking into account and focusing on is my personal approach to what I'm doing with my finances, my economic well-being that will stabilize a position for those who come after me and those who come after them.
Mm.
Because I was so busy fighting the good fight
Right.
uh, with my voice, and reaching out to people who are like me, who when we have conversations, we want to point fingers at those who are responsible for what is going on in our personal life.
Mm.
My focus now has moved beyond that, and I'm very specific about my investments. I'm very specific about the way the wife and I, the queen and I, the way we're thinking is about those gaps that we've created for ourselves,
Okay.
and how do we put ourselves in position that 20 years from now, when our children look at our trusts, when they look at our investments, they can utilize those to better their position for their children,
Mm-hmm.
their children's children.
Mm.
So we're focused on land. We're focused on. Um, I actually have a company called Wins Local, where we talk about finance, and this is where we give it back, and we're active talking to the community.
Mm.
We work with nonprofits to speak about value investing specifically, and telling individuals, because of social media and everything that goes on in real time, You have crypto, you have NFTs and Forex, all this stuff being sold to you in real time. And individuals are quick to jump at opportunities that are very high risk and high reward. Many times it's not really high reward either. It's just high risk. And
Right.
so I've delved into books, and I can put a book list together for individuals who want to like delve into the books that I've read that have to do with finance, because I'm self-taught in the market,
Right.
and I'm an active I'm an investor, not an active investor. I'm a value investor.
Okay.
So I'm talking about creating wealth by long-term investments through dividends and exchange traded funds, and the conversation that we are never taught in school, but we need to know. And we need to know how individuals become extremely wealthy and they maintain their wealth for generations, not just land, but other mechanisms that are used. And that's very important. And so for
Yeah.
generational wealth, my main conversation is to get out of the room where I'm placing blame on other individuals, because that conversation is a reality, and we know that's a reality, but that doesn't change the fact that we have to put ourselves in position
No
of
doubt.
power.
Because they not
But
they
that,
not gonna help us.
right,
Right.
and we're sitting there waiting for our 40 acres and a mule,
Mm,
and the reality is it's not coming.
mm. No doubt, man. I hear that, man. Listen, when you say when you speak about land, first of all, I think that's extremely important. I also think that part of that generational wealth, has to be, like you said, you got the knowledge, and I feel like we need to pass on the knowledge to our seeds, the knowledge on how to do these things. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Because a lot of people are so caught up in the money, just in the money. You know what I mean? The money aspect. But if we don't teach our children what to do with it, you know what I'm saying, or how to, whatever we leave behind, how to utilize the land, for example, you know what I'm saying, how to grow your food, or how to make these things happen, then the money's gonna go quick, man. And then what? The money's just paper. If tomorrow they say it's worth less, it's gonna be worth less. You know what I'm saying? But what are the tools we leave our seeds with? I feel like that's a huge part. That's really important. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no doubt, man. So listen, man, we could rap forever, man, but I like to do this thing. Like I said, we like to do this book recommendation thing, man.
Yeah.
So please, man, go ahead, and I'm gonna have all this info down in the descriptions for everybody to be able to check out what you recommend over here, man. So please.
Okay, so I'm going to. Can I you want me to recommend one book?
You can do a couple if you want. If you like, you
Yeah,
can do two. Yeah,
let me do a few, because like
yeah,
we've touched on some some very topics, and I
yeah,
think it's important to like dive into a few of them.
for sure. Go ahead, man.
One I would say, one great one that I think, for individuals focused on finance,
Mhm.
one great one would be, it's called Principles by Ray Dalio.
Okay.
Um, I think that's important because it's easy to read and navigate, but at the same time it offers, and it kind of would fall into the self-help, even though like I'm not big on self-help books, but it kind of would fit into that mode, even though it's a finance book,
Mm,
because it gives you his life and work principles that he's utilized to become a successful hedge fund manager.
that makes sense.
Um, and so I think that that's a valuable one. And then when it comes to my spirituality, which is A1, Day One, anything by Dr. Muata Ashby, like I would say go to, start off with uh, things that have to deal with the Pert Heru, um, uh, what is mistakenly referred to as the Egyptian Book of the Dead,
Okay.
or the Book of Coming into Light, or the Book of Coming Forth by Day. I think that's imperative to have as a guide post.
No doubt.
Um, and then one more that I think I would like to mention is the Hidden Messages in Water. Is a great book.
I need to
Um,
check that out, man. I
I
don't know.
study the elements consistently. We focus and we practice and we work with the elements. We deal with the sun, moon, and the stars.
Word.
Um, Water's value is lost on a lot of individuals. And the hidden, just without giving it away, the hidden messages in water is a book that, this author used these experiments with water to see after 30 days what would happen, what kind of crystals would form in water if you spoke positive to one and then negative to another.
Okay.
So it's a very powerful experiment. You can see the documentary on Gaia as well. But the book is a very easy read and a very powerful read. So I would say the hidden messages in water.
Dope, man. No doubt. I appreciate that, man. So listen, brother, before you go, man, please, I'd love to let you have the floor, man. And, a couple of things. First of all, let the people know where they can check you out, where they can listen to your music, you know what I'm saying, where they can, check you out maybe on social media, even though you're not too active, but I know, they can still see some good things. They could see, they could check out some of your videos. And also anything that you got going on, any recent projects that you got going on that people can either support or check out, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be artistic, whatever you're putting your hands into, man. So, and then please, if you have any last words for the listeners of the Vital Hoops podcast, man, go ahead, my brother.
First, like to say thank you for taking the time with me, and appreciate what you're doing for the people. It's a beautiful thing. Your energy is powerful, and I want nothing but blessings for the platform first and foremost. So thank you for that. As far as the stuff that goes with me personally, you just look up REKS. IG is where I kind of am the most active, and I'm not really active there. But I would say go to my IG, REKS Hip Hop, REKS Hip Hop, and Twitter is the real REKS. Outside of that, it's not much more contact you're gonna get. But I do have a young king, my son, who was on my album Gray Hairs. He was the baby voice on that album, and he's now making his own projects now. He goes by the name Isiah. It's at Isiah Vision, so ISIGHTVZN. He's a blogger, and he's a producer and an Emcee. Yeah, he's released 2 instrumental tapes now. The new one just dropped yesterday called All Star Beat Tape Volume 1. And my wife is a spoken word artist. She's got a valuable, very, very valuable voice for the people in general, but sisters very specifically. And she goes by Queen Philosophical. So please follow her, Queen PHILOSO Philosoph. PHI. You got philosophical. PHILOSO PHICAL. That was a tough one.
We're gonna put it down in the description, man, so people
so make sure like people are gonna look at the video and be like, how many times did he spell it wrong? Which is beautiful. I'm good to like learn on the job. Queen Philosophical, and she has a spoken word project coming out in a few weeks as well. Stay tuned for that. Excited about it, and just thankful. So you can follow me by following the village. Absolutely.
Word up, man. Make sure y'all do that. You know what I mean? Vital Hoops is about, these great people and great artists, independent, that do it for us, really do it for us, for the people, for the culture. And man, REKS, my brother, yo, thanks a lot, man. Like I said, man, it's dope to have you on the show. And listen, I would love to have you back on, you know what I mean? Because we still need to rap, man. We need to get on some of these subjects and dissect them a little bit. You know what I mean?
Anytime, and I'm with it. I'm thankful that you took the time with me. You say the word, and I'm ready to get to it.
That'd be dope. I appreciate it, man. Yo, have a great time, man, with the queen. Everything positive, my brother. We gotta let's keep growing and keep building, man.
Thankful, beloved. Let's definitely build. We have plenty to build. I like to say Uncle Justineb, which is life, vitality, and health to all.
Appreciate you, my brother.
To say.
No doubt. Peace.
Peace.
Yes, episode 16 is in the books. I really enjoyed it. Once again, big up, much respect, many thanks to the brother REKS for blessing the Vital Hoops podcast with his presence and dropping knowledge. Listen, please support us. You know what I mean? This is the people's podcast. We need your support. We have no corporate support, no corporate sponsors. You know what I mean? So please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, share with your friends, with your enemies. You know what I mean? And as always, we're on Instagram at Vital Hoops Podcast. We're on Facebook, Vital Hoops, and we are on Twitter at Vital Hoops Pod. You can always write us an email, vitalhoopspodcast@gmail.com, with thoughts, with questions, suggestions, and all of that. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we hope you continue rocking with us. Vital Hoops, we're going to keep doing it for the culture. We out. Peace.